My name is Lori Filmer, also known as Lori Shaver, and as my attorney, Mr. Wiggs, has just stated, he is representing me for the charges of second-degree murder of my ex-husband, Michael Shaver. I'm coming before you guys today just to let you know that we have our suspicions, but I don't know why I've been targeted, why I've been set up, or charged with this heinous crime. I am not guilty. And anybody that knows me knows that my life is my children. I am a daughter, I'm a friend, I'm a neighbor, I'm a servant of God, I'm a wife, and I am a devoted mother of 4.
She stood in that courtroom and told the jury she was a servant of God, a devoted mother of 4, a woman whose entire life was her children. She said it with conviction. She said it without blinking. And her husband's skeleton was buried in her backyard, directly beneath a concrete slab, marked with her own initials. That is where we are going today. But to understand how a woman ends up in a Florida courtroom in September 2024, nearly a decade after her husband vanished, we have to go back to the beginning. Back to 2 kids from a small town in upstate New York and a love story that started in 8th grade with a Boys to Men song playing in a bedroom. Michael and Lori Shaver grew up together in Lawrence, New York. Population small enough that everyone knew everyone from kindergarten.
I know.
Please raise your right hand. I'll swear you in. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that any testimony you give today shall be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Did you know Michael Shaver?
Yes.
How did you know Michael?
We were best friends.
And when did you first meet Michael?
It's about 2nd grade.
And where were you all living at this time?
In a small town, Lawrence.
Michael was the kind of kid who became the kind of man people trusted. Reliable, driven, the type who worked his way through a 4-year mechanical apprenticeship at Walt Disney World and was in line for a promotion. He had been a commercial pilot. He had the tools of a man building something. Lori worked remotely for MetLife Disability. In March of 2014, they bought 5 acres in Claremont, Florida, a ranch-style house with a horse barn and pastures. The forever home. But the forever home had a problem. The marriage inside it was coming apart. By the time they moved in, Lori had filed for protective injunctions against Michael twice. In September 2014, a fight escalated into something the police had to respond to. Michael was arrested for domestic battery. The children were too young to testify. It was his word against hers, and the truth of that night was left unresolved. In November 2014, they separated. By May 2015, they were attempting a reconciliation. By November 7th, 2015, according to Lori, she kicked Michael out for good. After that date, Michael Shaver ceased to exist in any verifiable sense. No phone calls, no bank activity, no credit card purchases. His driver's license expired. His passport expired. His FAA pilot's medical certificate, the kind of credential a man who loved flying would never let lapse, expired without renewal. His job at Disney World ended via text message. He left behind his vehicle, his tools, his guns. Everything a man would take if he were leaving by choice, he left behind. The only contact anyone had with Michael Shaver after November 7th, 2015, came through text messages and Facebook posts. And those, as investigators would eventually discover, were being sent from a single IP address: Lori's home. His childhood best friend Scott, the same man who had played the Boys to Men song the night Michael asked Lori out in 8th grade, spent months in early 2018 trying to find him. He called friends. He called family. He called coworkers. Not one person had physically seen or spoken to Michael since that November date.
Investigators arrived at the Shaver home 3 weeks later with a search warrant, zeroing in on the concrete slab. They brought cadaver dogs, ground-penetrating radar, even a backhoe to dig through the property. The cadaver dog alerted to the same spot twice, and detectives wasted no time setting up tents and carefully working the area. Then, later in the evening, community members were startled to hear the breaking news.
Neighbors reacting after the sheriff's office say they found possible human bones.
Nauseating, actually. It just makes you sick at your stomach.
Tanya Winchester says she watched as Lake County detectives made a discovery while digging in her neighbor's backyard.
I did see, shortly after they made the find, I was standing in the neighbor's backyard pretty close nearby watching, and I did see that law enforcement kind of circled around the site and took off their hats, and it looked like they had said a prayer.
The Lake County Sheriff's Office says after hours of searching, they began focusing their efforts around this fire pit, later revealing they believe they found what appears to be a human arm bone. The investigation starting a couple weeks ago after a friend of 36-year-old Michael Shaver contacted deputies, saying he hadn't seen Shaver since 2015. Detectives say Shaver's wife Lori also claims to have not seen her husband in several years, but investigators were forced to get a search warrant when she refused to let them look in her backyard. Neighbors say the couple has young children who often play outside.
The only thing we really care about is the kids. So we kind of had hoped that didn't get confirmed, because what do you tell a third grader,
Again, Lake County says they're still waiting to talk to Lori Shaver, but they do add she is a person of interest.
She stopped cooperating. She asked for a lawyer. She told them to leave. That moment marked the beginning of a formal investigation. And what investigators found when they came back 3 weeks later with a search warrant, cadaver dogs, ground-penetrating radar, and a backhoe, would change everything. The cadaver dog alerted to the same spot twice, right at the fire pit, right at the concrete. Neighbors watching from nearby said they saw the moment law enforcement found something. The detectives circled the site. They removed their hats. It looked, one neighbor said, like they said a prayer. Later that evening, the news broke across Florida. Possible human bones had been found in a residential backyard in Clearmont. The arm bone of a human being, buried under concrete. And not just anywhere under that concrete. Directly beneath the section of the slab marked with the initials LF and TF. Lori Filmer, Travis Filmer. Her new husband's name, carved above her previous husband's grave. The remains were confirmed through dental records and familial DNA on June 15, 2018. The cause of death? A single gunshot wound to the back of the head from a .38 caliber handgun, the same caliber Lori owned, and later sold. Now, here is where I want you to think carefully, because this is the question that should be sitting in the back of your mind before we even get to trial. When investigators build a murder case without a witness, without a confession, without forensic evidence directly connecting the defendant to the act, they rely on circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial evidence means no one saw it happen. It means the prosecution builds a picture from the pieces around the act rather than the act itself. Courts take circumstantial evidence seriously. Juries convict on it regularly. But it requires the jury to follow a logical chain, and every link in that chain has to hold. What the state had here was a chain with a lot of very heavy links. The body was in her yard.
Please raise your right hand and I'll swear you in. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that any testimony you give today shall be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Please proceed.
Can you please introduce yourself to the jury?
Hi, my name's Robert Mercado.
Did you know Michael Shaver?
Yes.
How did you know Michael?
We first met at work in our apprenticeship, mechanical apprenticeship, and from there on we hit it off.
When you talk about your apprenticeship at work, where did you?
At Walt Disney World.
And were you guys going through the apprenticeship at the same time?
We ended up at the same location. He was a year ahead of me.
How long is that apprenticeship?
It's a 4-year apprenticeship.
Now, through Michael Shaver, did you ever meet his wife, Lori Shaver?
Yes.
And did you ever go over to their house to visit or socialize?
Yes, multiple times.
And in November of 2015, what kind of vehicle did you have?
I had a gray Explorer.
And in November of 2015, did you ever go pick Michael Shaver up from his home and take him anywhere so he could leave his family?
No.
Did you ever take him to Georgia and drop him off anywhere up there?
No.
A coworker named Robert Marcato, who supposedly drove Michael to Georgia, took the stand and said, "No, not me, not my vehicle. I never took him anywhere." Lori was arrested in September 2020, charged with second-degree murder and accessory after the fact. She bonded out on $52,000 3 months later, fitted with an ankle monitor. And her attorney, Jeffrey Wiggs, wasted no time. He set up a public fundraising page titled simply, "I'm Innocent." He recorded a video explaining the defense theory. He told anyone who would listen that Lori had been set up, that after Michael left, she had dated a military veteran, possibly special forces, who bragged about killing without a trace, who advised her to pour concrete for a patio, and who buried Michael beneath it without her knowledge. He pointed law enforcement toward 2 men, Jeremy Townsend and Jimmy Bellaloo.
All right, please state and spell your full legal name.
Tamara Rose Dale, Tamara Rosedale.
Please raise your right hand. I'll swear you in. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that any testimony you give today shall be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Please introduce yourself.
Yes, sir. Good morning. My name is Tamara Dale,
Where do you work?
Lake County Sheriff's Office.
How long have you worked there?
Been there for 21 years.
And what is your current position?
I'm a lieutenant in criminal investigations.
What is that?
So unfortunately, lieutenant is a lot of administrative duties now, but I supervise detectives, specifically major crimes detectives, homicide, sex crimes, child abuse.
Back in 2018,
2018, I was a sergeant in criminal investigations.
and how did you become involved in the investigation relating to the death of Michael Shaver?
So the lead detective in that case, she moved positions just within criminal investigations, and I became her supervisor, her sergeant at the time, and the case moved with her.
When did that occur?
I don't remember exactly when she moved positions, but I think it was sometime in 2018.
Now, at some point, did Detective Doria leave?
Yes, she did.
And when she left, did you kind of step up in order to take on some of the responsibilities of this investigation at that point?
Yes, I did.
Now, during the course of this investigation, were you provided with potential names from Mr. Wiggs that he thought you needed to look into and investigate?
We were, yes, sir.
And what were those names?
Jeremy Townsend and James or Jimmy Bellew.
And were those individuals interviewed?
They were.
And did law enforcement go and look into the assertions made by Mr. Wiggs about them?
Yes, sir.
Please state and spell your full legal name.
Jeremy Townsend, JEREME
And please raise your right hand. I'll swear you in. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that any testimony you give today shall be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Okay. All right, thank you. Please proceed.
Please introduce yourself to the jury.
Jeremy Townsend.
Townsend, couple of questions up front. Do you currently have an attorney?
Yes.
And when did you retain?
January 2022.
Prior to retaining an attorney, had you spoken with law enforcement
Yes.
about the matters of this case?
Yes.
And had you spoken with them multiple times prior to retaining an attorney?
Yes.
And why did you retain an attorney in this matter?
When my name came out as part of this case, my wife and I felt that we would retain an attorney to help us through the process, help us understand the legal side of this.
And he waited for trial. And now, stay with me here, because what happened at trial is where this case stopped being a tragedy and became something you genuinely will not believe. This is the halfway point of this story, and I want to be direct with you. Everything we have covered so far is the setup. The lies, the body, the initials in the concrete, all of it is prologue. What happens in that courtroom over the next several days is where this case earns everything the evidence promised. Because a defense that began with a mysterious Special Forces veteran quietly shifted into something else entirely. Something that put a teenager on the witness stand and asked her to carry a story that collapsed under the weight of its own details. Jeremy Townsend was not a phantom. He was a United States Army veteran who had been shot 3 times in Afghanistan and medically retired. He was married with a child. He met Lori at a public park in September 2015, when, according to Lori, Michael had already left. They had an affair. She wanted him to leave his wife. He did not. By February 2016, she was texting him about the wedding ring he had put back on. By April 2016, someone using Michael Shaver's Facebook account sent flowers to Jeremy's wife, Vanessa, with a card that read, "Roses are red, violets are blue. My wife is 1, your husband is 2. Sorry about this. Check your Facebook messages. We need to talk. Signed, Mike." Vanessa Townsend, a school teacher, testified to receiving those flowers. She had never had any contact with anyone named Michael Shaver. The implication of that testimony was direct and documented. Lori had used a dead man's Facebook account to blow up the marriage of a man who refused to leave his wife for her. The account traced back to her home IP address, the same IP address as her own Facebook account, the same IP address from which every post attributed to Michael Shaver had been made since November 2015. Jeremy Townsend took the stand and said flatly and repeatedly that he had never been present when Michael Shaver was shot. He had never arrived at the Shaver residence to find a body. He had never fired a weapon at anyone. He had never threatened anyone's life. He had nothing to do with Michael Shaver's death, the disposal of his body, or the covering of that body with concrete.
At any point when you were over at the Shaver residence, was Michael Shaver there?
No.
At any point did you arrive on a scene where Michael Shaver had been shot?
I say what?
At any point did you arrive at the Shaver residence or any other place where Michael Shaver had been shot?
No.
At any point were you involved with any sort of altercation with Michael Shaver?
No.
At any point did you shoot or injure Michael Shaver?
No.
At any point were you involved with disposing of the body of Michael Shaver?
No.
And after the affair was exposed, what happened with your relationship with Lori?
I cut it off.
Nothing further.
The defense tried to impeach him. Impeachment being the legal term for attacking a witness's credibility by pointing to contradictions between what they say on the stand and what they said previously in a deposition. The attorney highlighted that Townsend's memory of when he first met Lori had improved between his deposition and trial, and that he had gone back through old text messages to refresh his recollection before testifying. The judge intervened during the cross-examination to remind the attorney that a witness is entitled to finish answering a question before being interrupted. It was a small moment, but in a trial, small moments accumulate. Jimmy Bellaloo, the second name.
Please introduce yourself to the jury.
I'm Jimmy. How y'all doing?
Do you know Lori Shaver?
Yes. Yes.
When did you first meet Lori Shaver?
It was in the summer of 14.
And where did you meet her?
Don Mealy Chevrolet.
And where were you working at the time?
There, Don Mealy.
What was your position there?
Salesman.
And what was the context of the meeting that you had at the Chevrolet dealership with Lori Shaver?
They were buying a truck.
When you say they, who are you referring to?
Her and her old man.
Do you remember his name?
It's Mr. Shaver.
Michael Shaver?
Michael Shaver, yeah.
And what kind of truck was she looking at that time?
I think it was Silverado, Chevy.
Did they end up purchasing a vehicle that first time that they went to the dealership?
No.
Did there come a time that she returned to the dealership?
Yes.
And when she returned to the dealership, do you remember how she was dressed?
Short shorts, cowboy boots on.
Okay. And was her husband with her?
No.
And what was the purpose of her coming that second time?
I really don't remember, to be honest with you. It was something to do with we owed them something or something for the truck, I believe.
Did they end up purchasing a vehicle?
Yeah, they did, yeah.
After that purchase had been completed, did you end up texting with Lori Shaver back and forth?
Yeah, about the truck and all.
And at some point, did those text messages move on to something other than just the truck purchase?
Yeah.
Did you end up having a physical relationship with the defendant?
Yeah. Me and my girlfriend split up.
Did she want more out of this relationship than you?
Yeah.
And where would the physical acts between you and Lori Shaver occur?
At her house.
And what time of day would they occur?
Oh, I don't know. It's been years, man.
Do you remember she was working in an office or remotely at that time?
The defense had forwarded to law enforcement, testified that his contact with Lori ended in the summer of 2014, more than a year before Michael disappeared. He had nothing to offer the defense. Both men were investigated, neither was implicated. Travis Filmer, Lori's current husband, testified
All right, please state and spell your full legal name.
My name is Robert Proper. Robert, R-O-B-E-R-T, Proper, P-R-O-P-E-R.
All right, please raise your right hand. I'll swear you in. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that any testimony you give today shall be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Please proceed.
Did Mr. Kohler make a statement that he said represents the wrong Lori Shaver?
Yes. Yes.
What was that?
We were discussing Mr. Shaver's disappearance, and he made the statement basically that it wasn't a matter of he was missing, he was no longer walking the earth.
Nothing further, Judge. And who is Robert Proper?
He's somebody that I have done work for.
Is he a friend of yours?
No, sir.
Have you known him for a long time?
I have known of him for a long time.
You have no issues with him, though?
I do not.
You are now officially married to Ms. Shaver, correct? Correct. When did that occur?
2020.
Do you have any children with her?
I do.
How many?
2.
What are their names? Has your relationship with your brother and your family changed in any way since you started a relationship with Ms. Shaver?
Not since I started a relationship with her, since this investigation started.
Has there ever been a time where Ms. Shaver used your phone to text your brother where she was acting as if she was you?
Not to my knowledge.
Have you ever told anyone that she did that?
No.
that when he moved into the Shaver home in late July 2016, he did not know Lori was still legally married. She told him Michael had left and wanted nothing to do with the family. He helped her pour the concrete slab in September 2016. He rented the cement mixer from Home Depot on September 12th. The receipt was entered into evidence without objection. He described their December 31st, 2016 ceremony, the white dress, her grandfather walking her down, an officiant, a wedding cake, as a commitment ceremony rather than a legal marriage, noting that Lori had told him she did not want to sign a legal contract. When pressed, he acknowledged that in his deposition he had said the reason was financial. On the stand, he added that she had cited the trauma of her previous marriage. The prosecutor noted the difference. Travis noted that they were not mutually exclusive. The prosecutor did not pursue it further, but the jury heard both answers. A neighbor named Robert, someone Travis had done work for, testified that Travis had told him, after the body was found, that it was not a matter of Michael being missing. He was no longer walking the earth. Travis denied making that statement in exactly those words. Robert testified that he had.
Are you aware that there have been discussions through Mr. Wiggs about Isabel Shaver's involvement in this case since the time that he would have interviewed her in the child advocacy interview?
Yes, I am aware.
At the point that those statements came forward, were charges already pending against Lori Shaver?
Yes.
And the any other talking of witnesses would be done through the state attorney's office at that point?
Correct.
And Ms. Isabel Shaver, are you aware, was deposed through the course of this pending case?
Yes, sir, I'm aware of that.
And then Lori's daughter took the stand. She was 15 years old at the time of trial. She had been 7 when Michael Shaver was last seen alive. The defense had telegraphed her testimony for years. They had filed a motion in 2023 noting that she had, at age 14, described her role in Michael's death. What she told the jury was this. She walked into a room to find Michael with his foot on her mother's head, pressing her face into the floor. She was 7 years old. She was terrified. She retrieved a firearm and shot him. She believed she had hit him. And then she said Jeremy Townsend walked through the door, took the gun, and shot Michael again. He told Lori to get the children out of the house. He told everyone that if they spoke about what happened, he would kill them too. Lieutenant Tamara Dale, the lead investigator with 21 years at the Lake County Sheriff's Office, testified that when the defense had forwarded her the names Jeremy Townsend and Jimmy Bellaloo, they had not mentioned Isabel at all. Not once. The child advocacy interview conducted with Isabel in 2020 had produced nothing requiring further investigation. The claims about her involvement emerged.
All right, State, you may proceed.
Ms. Shaver, in the beginning of your testimony, I believe you may have misspoke. Mr. Wiggs asked you when you were married to Mike Shaver, and you said May of 2016. When did you get married to Michael Shaver?
2006.
Okay. That's okay. Now, the biggest question I have for you, because you didn't mention it once in your entire story, is when did your husband get killed?
The exact date I cannot recall. It was beginning of May of 2016. It was not November.
After charges were already pending against Lori, the lieutenant was careful and precise in how she framed this. She let the timeline speak for itself. The state called it patently false. The logic, the prosecutor argued, was simple. If a 7-year-old child had shot someone in self-defense of her mother, and a man had immediately appeared and handled the body and threatened the family, and Lori's priority was taking the children to school, then who cleaned the scene? Who moved the body to the backyard? Who buried Michael Shaver? And why would Lori, a woman who, according to her own testimony, had just watched her daughter shoot her husband in self-defense, not call the police? Then Lori took the stand herself. Her attorney kept the direct examination vague. He asked her about the abuse. He asked her about her emotional state. He asked her at one point whether she believed she would be alive today if not for what Isabel had done. She said yes. He avoided asking her a single specific question about the day Michael died. That avoidance was not accidental. It was strategy. If she did not say it, the prosecution could not confront it directly.
And out of all of that land, you just happened to choose the area where your dead husband's body was found to put that cement slab. That's basically what you're saying here, correct?
No, because I did not know his body was there. It went there because the area was already dug out.
Quite a coincidence, you'd agree, correct?
No, not necessarily. Not if you realize the whole parameters of what came first and how that all transpired. Like I said, that was something that Jeremy and I had originally talked about doing because I had gotten rid of the animals and we had the fire pit and we were talking about wanting to, I mean, it was his suggestion to put in concrete.
So the March 2016 is when you put that fire pit in, and 2 months later is when your husband is killed on your property, correct?
Yes. But the concrete was not poured until September.
Correct, by you and your now husband.
Yes. But I had no knowledge that he was under there. If I was trying to cover him up, why would I do that so many months later? And only...
I haven't asked you a question, ma'am.
What the defense did not anticipate is that the state's cross-examination would not need specifics, because the absence of specifics was itself the argument. The prosecutor asked her one question first. When did your husband get killed? She said she could not recall the exact date, sometime in May of 2016. Not November of 2015, the date every piece of physical evidence pointed to. Not the date when his phone went silent, his bank went quiet, his job evaporated, and his friends stopped hearing from him. May of 2016. The prosecutor walked her through it, methodically. If Michael showed up in May of 2016, how did he get there? She did not know. What vehicle did she see? There was no vehicle. So he walked to her rural property. She was not paying attention. After November 2015, did Michael ever call her? She did not recall. Did phone records show any calls? She acknowledged they did not. But she said he had been texting her, threats, messages about her mother. The prosecutor noted those messages came from her own IP address. She said she did not know that was her IP address. She said maybe Michael had logged into her Facebook. On 5 acres of land, she chose to build a fire pit directly above the spot where her husband's body was buried. She said she did not know he was there. The prosecutor said, quite a coincidence.
So what vehicle, the day that he showed up in May of 2016, what vehicle did you use to get to your house that day?
I don't know.
What vehicle was in your yard that you didn't recognize that day?
In May?
Yes.
There was not a vehicle.
So he just walked?
I don't know.
He just showed up without a vehicle in your house on the back porch?
I was not paying attention to that.
Nothing further, Judge.
She said it was not a coincidence if you understood the whole picture. He told her he had not asked a question yet.
All right, after having reviewed both verdict forms, the court finds that there are no errors or omissions in the filling out of the verdict forms. Madam Clerk, please publish the verdict.
In the Circuit Court of the 5th Judicial Circuit of the State of Florida and in Fort Lake County, the State of Florida versus Laurie Shaver, case number 2020 CF 2361. Verdict as to count 1. We, the jury, find as follows as to count 1 of the charge. The defendant is guilty of second-degree murder. Was the defendant in actual possession of a firearm? Yes. Did the defendant discharge a firearm? Yes. Did the discharge cause great bodily harm? Yes. So say we all, dated this 13th day of September 2024, Mercy Langley, foreperson. Verdict as to count 2. We, the jury, find as follows as to count 2 of the charge. The defendant is not guilty. So say we all, dated this 13th day of September 2024, Mercy Langley, foreperson.
Does counsel for either the state or the defendant wish to have the jury polled?
Yes, does, Judge. Judge, at this time we move, obviously, for tenant's motion for supersedious bond. Renew our motion for judgment of acquittal, notwithstanding the verdict, all previous grounds stated and asserted.
The motion for supersedious bond is denied, and the motion for judgment of acquittal is respectfully denied.
Yes.
Is your client, is Ms. Shaver entitled to a PSI? Okay. All right, Ms. Shaver, please stand. Based on the verdict of the jury finding you guilty of the offense of murder in the second degree with a firearm, as charged in the information filed against you in criminal case number 20 CF 2361, this court does hereby adjudicate you guilty of that offense and remand you to the custody of the sheriff pending receipt by the court of a pre-sentence investigation report by the Florida Parole and Probation Commission. You will be remanded now to the Lake County Jail. Let's set a sentencing date, Madam Clerk. What's 60 days out?
Let me get with Margie real fast.
Okay.
So she can.
I don't know if I think she left.
She left.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
What's the... Oh, prints and DNA will be ordered. Is there a November date?
We can do our November sentencing date is November 25th.
All right, November 25th. At what time? 9?
She had lied to a coworker and told him Michael was in jail for failing to pay child support. She admitted that. She had lied to law enforcement about Michael's whereabouts. She acknowledged that too. She had made purchases on Michael's bank account and had them delivered to her house with her name on them. She said she did not recall the specifics. The cross-examination lasted minutes. Nothing further, the prosecutor said. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. 4 hours for a case that had taken 9 years to get to trial. Guilty of second-degree murder, in actual possession of a firearm. The firearm was discharged. The discharge caused great bodily harm. All 3 special findings confirmed by the jury on September 13, 2024. The motion for bond pending sentencing was denied. The motion for judgment of acquittal was denied. Lori Shaver was remanded to the Lake County Jail. Sentencing was set for November 25th. The defense never produced a credible alternate suspect. The 2 men they named for years cooperated with law enforcement, testified without contradiction, and left the courtroom cleared. The story about the military veteran who killed without a trace and poured concrete over the body was never traced to anyone real. The daughter's testimony, offered after years of silence and only after charges were filed, described a sequence of events that required Jeremy Townsend to appear at exactly the right moment, take exactly the right action, clean an entire crime scene, bury a body in a backyard, and then say nothing for nearly a decade, while Lori covered his initials in concrete above the grave and sent flowers to his wife.